Jim Crow era Joe. We talked extensively about his knowledge of the Slipknot.
Right. Slipknot Joe.
Which is what all his buddies called him.
Slipknot Joe, the Lattice Man.
Back in the... So now you want to start a league and use the Zach for that. So, you know, when Cindy the widow...
Cindy has moved on.
Oh, God, she died too?
No, she has moved on.
Oh, my God. Rest in peace, Cindy. Die of a broken heart. You know what they say, Steve. It's worse than cancer. We've got the Memorial Day holiday coming up.
Mm-hmm.
When everybody busts out the scoots.
From sea to shining sea.
Everybody knows
this nation's highways and byways are overrun with motors that do not exceed 50 cc's.
As discussed last week, I unfortunately will not be one of those 49 and under cc scoot machines.
You won't be, Steve, hooking up with the gang on a big day trip up the coast of Michigan anytime soon?
I had to denounce my membership, hand in my card. Boy, what does that sound?
It's almost like the late spring equivalent of our year in review episode where we have the nice crackling fire.
Crackling fire, yeah.
Now,
hold on, let's give it a minute to breathe, because you're definitely not going to hear this much during this episode. Listen, hold on. Yep. Oh boy, that's some rainfall. You know what I just realized too? By the way, it is Sunday, May 17th, 2020, the year of our Lord. It's the Steve and Kyle podcast, recording once again from my sunroom here at the house.
With the opposite of sun.
You may have noticed it's a bit of a rainy morning here.
Yeah. Our options were rain.
Let it breathe, man.
Sorry. Our options.
Sounds great. Is this better or worse than the birds from a couple weeks ago?
It's worse. I feel like the birds added an ambiance. This is like those idiots who claim records are better than digital audio.
Oh, dummies.
Because
all
they
stupid.
sound like crap.
Every one of them. Oh, I just love the pop and the hiss.
Yeah.
And the crackle. Yeah, and then the...
Yeah, exactly.
When it hits the scratch that your idiot kid made when he threw it like a Frisbee.
Yep, and we're starting off early today. That'll be on the poll. Are people who listen to records dumb?
Yep.
That is at Steve and Kyle on Facebook and Twitter. But back to the Scoot, Steve.
Scoot's gone. Yeah, but we digress, of course. Scoot's gone. Scoot is gone, and I kind of, it's funny. I completely forgot about it. I hadn't thought about the Scoot since the other day when Annette and I were on a walk. Obviously with Evelyn, we had Lola with us. Toby left home because he causes nothing but trouble. More on that later. Is he still staring at us through the window?
He has moved on.
Oh,
he has decided to take his gazing eyes to a different venue.
Yeah.
And is probably staring at your wife.
So, yeah, we were on a walk the other day, yesterday, maybe the day before, and we were walking through a park. There's a nice, beautiful park system here, and we were just on a nice, leisurely walk, and around this time of year, of course, you see a ton of people, even more now, though, because nobody can really go anywhere, so everyone's just out walking, getting exercise.
Yep.
So it's really nice. You know, you see a bunch of people walking, and then...
Trying to talk to other people, bother them, just...
Yeah.
Hey, are you my neighbor? Just go inside. Get your mail, go inside. Let's leave this like there wasn't a pandemic, and just leave me alone.
Yeah, we were walking, and obviously it's a park, so we're not anywhere. The closest we are, we're probably a half to 3/4 of a mile from any road. Just right in the middle of this park, and we start hearing like...
So did you kind of have, like, did you look down at your forearm and
the
hair was raised?
The hair on the back of my neck was standing up.
Yeah.
Then we realized there was
You turn your hat backwards.
Yeah, you don't want it to blow off.
Yeah.
We turned around. There's some dude screaming down the walking path on his little... It wasn't a scooter. It was more of like a mini bike.
Oh, okay.
But still, just screaming by. And we're like, what the hell? And in that split second, I thought, that could be me. Could be me tearing through this park upwards of 20 miles per hour while people are just trying to take their kids and their dog for a walk.
I have a couple of questions regarding the scoot, and then I feel like...
hold on once. I just have to take a sip of my tea here.
It's not the glass mug today.
No, but it's the official It's Tea O'Clock Somewhere mug.
Yeah, did we ever get that? I forget. Somebody made that.
Somebody
for
made
you.
this and sent it to me. My only gripe about it is that it's for a lefty.
Oh,
I'm a righty.
Wow, yeah.
Although in this particular instance right now it works, but when I'm sipping out of my teacup, I usually hold it in my right hand. I want the world to see that it's Tea O'Clock Somewhere.
I feel
But
like
if I do that,
it's all covered.
It's facing me, which I do like. I mean, you could have sprung for the double-sided print, but look, it's all right. My birthday's in a couple of weeks, so
yes, it is.
Some express shipping, I'm sure that can be remedied.
I want to say that was our friend Betsy McCormick.
I think it was Betsy.
And Betsy, if
Betsy,
that was
I'm totally
you,
kidding.
and if you still happen to have that design, please send it our way because I would love to put some merch up on the merch store for It's Tea O'Clock Somewhere. Now, granted, that saying happened. It was what 2 years ago on this podcast,
Easily.
And
I think
you
I
were
was
in a
sick.
green tea phase or a whatever phase.
I remember I just had a sore throat, so I was drinking a lot of tea,
right,
with like honey or chamomile or whatever for about a week straight.
Yeah,
and I believe it was you that coined the phrase "It's Tea O'Clock Somewhere." If somebody, Nikki, show historian,
yeah,
if you happen to know the date or the timestamp of that would be great to go back and listen to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that though, judging by the design on this mug, it simply says it's Tea O'Clock Somewhere. But if you notice that it's designed in such a way that I'm assuming it's one of those sites where you can just go on, you could put any word in there. Like, if you're really into poodles, it's Poodle O'Clock Somewhere.
That's, you know what? I think you're probably accurate, Steve, based on... Yeah, that's a pretty good description.
Or this is this could be a Betsy Boo original.
It could be. If it is, Betsy, please get in touch with us. We'd love to post some It's Tea O'Clock Somewhere merch. Speaking of merch,
by the way, we are serious. That is not a pumped-in sound effect, and this is how it's going to be.
Yeah.
For this whole episode, and possibly the Fast 5 episode that drops later on this week. I mean, you never know. The rain is just scheduled to be here forever.
I've heard the word biblical used in regards to this rain.
I swear, if it gets, because there's actually a flood warning this morning.
Yeah.
If we get flooded and all of my landscaping gets washed away.
Well, yeah, but just think about
so
what
pissed.
if your backyard kind of levels out from the rock pit?
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, all the mulch that I spread yesterday just goes right into the basin.
Maybe you could use some erosion in your backyard. Maybe guide it. Maybe dig a little trench for that mulch to properly erode into your rock pit back there, Steve. But to get back to the scoop before we put a proper, I would say we put a proper bow on the scoop. The scoot's gone. We talked a lot about it. And like we like to do with a lot of our bits where we really... even if it's in the ground, we still whack that hammer a few more times.
Yeah. Larry Ferrari, Al Alberts.
Yep. This is one of those instances. Before we put a proper bow on the scoot, I have a couple of questions, Steve. One of them serious, one of them super serious. So let me start with the serious question.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to send you some screenshots of poll results.
I got them.
Oh, you got them?
Yeah, because I can pull up Twitter without having to log in. I can see the poll results, so we'll get to those later on this episode as well, at Steve and Kyle. My first question regarding the Scoot finale.
Yes.
Kind of like when an athlete or a professional wrestler even retires, or it's their last match, and if they lose or whatever, and they get up and the match is over and they take off their gloves or maybe they'll leave a piece of memorabilia
Right.
in the center of the ring or the octagon.
You're talking Undertaker style?
I'm talking Undertaker styles. You got your big duster. Would that be a duster?
A dust? I don't know what a duster is.
You don't know what a duster is? The old jacket? Like the long that would go all the way down to your feet? I'm pretty sure that was called a duster.
Oh, I have no idea. I always referred to that as a trench coat.
Let me look up the duster jacket. Yeah.
You nailed it, huh?
I think if you Google duster jacket right now, I think the Undertaker wore
A duster jacket.
a duster jacket.
Yeah, I always just referred to that as a long coat or a trench coat.
That'll be on the poll as well.
Oh, boy, that is nice.
Do you know what a duster is? That'll be on the poll as well at Stephen Kyle. But you might be right. I don't know if that it's not quite as long as the Undertaker
I think that on that, do you know what a duster, parentheses,
jacket.
not cleaning, or not related to cleaning?
I can just put duster jacket. Do you know what a duster jacket is?
But then you're leading them down the path
That's
of the
a good
correct
point.
answer.
Do you know what a duster?
These are
Not-
important.
this is very. We're conducting scientific polls, Steve. So, in regards to the Scoot being gone and your retirement from the Scoot life, if you will,
Well,
hashtag Scoot for life.
retirement. I don't know.
And well, hold on to that because I have. Again, I told you I had a serious question and a super serious
By the way,
question.
I haven't taken any notes today. What the hell?
We've talked about the rain, and we've talked about your tea mug.
Okay, the rain and my tea mug.
Yeah, and we'll come back to the merch discussion here in a
Sorry,
moment
I
as well.
usually take diligent notes.
We've got a couple of digressions that we're down
Mm-hmm.
right now. Do you now when you retired the Scoot, you sent her off into the sunset with the multiple lip piercing man?
Yes.
He scooted away, turned his hat backward in an official sign that he was now Scoot owner,
it was his.
and scooted on down the road. Steve, did you then walk inside, get your jacket, your fingerless gloves, and maybe throw them in the rock pit and put a
No.
few piles of dirt on them?
No, I felt bad though because I nearly sent the Scoot off with my fingerless gloves in the little compartment under the seat, and luckily I popped that open at the last second and I was like, "Ooh, let me take those badass gloves that were gifted to me by I still don't know who,
Someone on staff.
somebody on staff
Some
during
incredibly thoughtful, full head of haired guy having lots of sex
probably drives a sweet ride,
winner
muscular guy or girl
on staff.
on this staff. Yeah.
And because I'm now addicted to it, I'm got to stop. Is turning the hat backward on your ride an official passing of the Scoot torch? That is on the poll as well. So
If that's anything less than 100% yes, you all are idiots.
that's like the ending of a movie as triple lip piercing man turns his hat backward and pulls out of the Zack, and the camera slowly pans to Steve as one tear as he brushes away the tear from his cheek. But because you're moving on to a new stage of your life, you smile as you go inside to your wife and baby daughter.
Yeah, I wiped away the tear with one of the $100 bills that was in my hand because I was not that disappointed. As I said, I'd rather have a beautiful deck on the back of the house
Any day now.
than have a scooter that I barely rode.
Right.
Again, I cracked 100 miles on that thing as I was riding to meet Prince, who never showed up to buy the scooter.
Prince, the presumed angry gang member that didn't end up buying the Scoot. But on to the second question regarding the Scoot finale, Steve. And maybe we just title this episode The Scoot Finale. Do you see yourself, maybe not Scoot, because I think if you got back in the game, you'd go a different route. You see yourself down the road becoming a motorcycle man. Maybe in your 50s, maybe before that. Maybe retirement, Steve. Do you see yourself getting a hog?
No, I don't think so. I've never really been, ironically, never been a motorcycle guy. I've never ridden a motorcycle. I could maybe see dirt bike.
Oh, wow.
Because it shares a lot of the traits as BMX, which obviously I was really into when I was a kid.
Yep.
Riding the trails back in New Albany Elementary School.
Yeah, you just jump off a ramp and rip your handlebars left and right and call it a trick.
Yep. Yeah, that's what the trick was called. Jump off and turn your handlebars left and right. That's what they call it in the X Games.
Yeah, and then they go, did you see that one?
No, but I've talked about this with Annette. I hope that our little girl, I hope that she's into, I hope that she wants to experience stuff that I was into when I was a kid. I would love...
So BMXing...
Well, I don't want...
Underwear wrestling. Yeah. Rollerblading.
Oh, if she's into fruit pudding, I'd be disappointed.
Well, she could use her old man's old pair that he's taken from Cinnaminson, New Jersey, to West Michigan.
All the way to West Michigan.
Not just to West Michigan.
Blade's got some miles on him.
From Cinnaminson to an apartment, to a house, to a second house.
Oh.
To a third house.
And many places in between.
Ridiculous.
Many places in between. I lived in 5 different places before I moved here. And I've lived in 4 places since I've lived here.
So you've got a piece of your college dorm room closet space dedicated to the pair of fruit boots in the corner.
Yeah, it's right next to my Belushi college poster that every freshman in college has on their wall. And hung up with the little putty because you can't put holes in the walls.
Right.
No, but I would be thrilled if she was into Dad, I want a go-kart. Awesome. We're getting a go-kart.
No, Steve, stop. I know you. Okay? You're not going to go get a go-kart. Here's the way it goes in the Steve house. You're going to buy a few pieces of wood and a lawnmower motor, and you and Evelyn are going to be up to your elbows in grease in the garage building your very own go-kart, right?
Probably.
If that's what it takes, because it's been a couple of years now since you and I discussed that very idea of having go-karts and doing races around the Zach in the neighborhood here. So if that's what it takes, I'm all for it.
Got a Zach update. So whenever you're ready.
Oh, listen, I think Katie spoiled the Zach update for me yesterday.
Oh, I bet I know exactly what happened.
Yeah, I think my wife...
Is Katie into the Zach?
No, Katie's into new homes.
Okay. For you?
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. Time out.
Yeah.
Was Katie house hunting on the Zach?
Nope. It pops up when you look in a certain city.
Gotcha.
It would pop up. So I apologize. Not to really suck the wind from your sails here. No,
totally.
But
fine.
I believe it's been. I believe that surprise may be room. But I am always here for an update on the Zach.
Well,
because the dynamic here, I'm enamored with.
Is unlike any other.
I'm enamored with it. You moved in. Everybody moved out. And the people who have...
I wish that I could say, that's not what happened. But that is exactly what happened.
And I wish I could say the people that moved in were normal run-of-the-mill. But my interactions and my experience in your discussions... it made them seem some of them were a little bit off. Mainly your new neighbors to my back.
Weirdos. Total weirdos.
As we talked about.
I don't know if I've talked about this, but they do yard work in shifts. So, he'll come out and rake a little bit, and then, it's almost like a passing of the baton. She'll walk out, he'll hand the rake off. And, then, I was saying to Annette yesterday, I don't even think they like each other.
What are you hiding?
There was one point yesterday he was doing yard work in the backyard, she was in the front yard, and then at some point they switched.
I have so many questions, but I have
oh boy, the wind and the rain are really
it is
kicking
going
up.
to be gusty today as well. That works well for this podcast. Wind and microphones and wind.
I wonder if you were to spin around the other way,
into the chair. You think?
Yeah, maybe. Or no, that wouldn't do anything.
You think use the table as a shield?
You would basically have to sit with your back to me.
I mean, no different than the way it... Yeah. Okay, so you could see, so maybe not motorcycle, but you could see yourself building up a go-kart.
Or like a quad
okay.
ATV type thing.
Yeah, and for the family use.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be, sidecar. You driving while Annette and Evelyn hang out in the sidecar of your motorcycle.
The only time I've ever been interested in a motorcycle. Did you ever see the movie Garden State? Zach Braff and
years ago.
Natalie Portman.
Yep.
Do you remember the motorcycle from that movie that Zach Braff's character was gifted that motorcycle like from his grandfather or something?
That.
And it was an old like World War II era like military, like that drab olive green paint job, and it had the sidecar. I thought that was the only time where I was like, that's a badass looking motorcycle.
So you want one that probably spits like somehow diesel fumes into your nasal cavity.
Pretty much.
And gets like 18 miles of the gallon, which for a motorcycle is absurd.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Here, I'm going to text it since we don't have the Jumbotron out here. Again, we were working on a real low budget here in
Tight
APS 3.2, did we determine?
It was 3.2, Steve, and based on the issues that Jumbotron had in the basement near our end, you may want to go flip her on and off a few times.
That's true.
In the next few weeks, assuming we can't get back in there.
Yeah, I just texted you the picture of that motorcycle. Awesome.
Okay. Back to, we briefly mentioned, Steve, merch. Well, I finally got around to it this week.
You did it.
And they are up. The two newest designs from our friend Philip at Phil Apart on Twitter and Instagram. You can check him out there. He also has, I believe it's Philip Horror or something like that. I apologize for not having the direct handle. Beautiful designs for both Baldy and Nutmeg in the Morning. The Baldy and Nutmeg Morning Show, which is an absolute sight to behold. If you haven't seen it, check it out right now. StephenKyle.com/merch. You can see that there. It's on every design possible. You can get it on a face mask.
Yeah, we have that's the latest. We have face masks.
You can get it on socks. You can get it on shower curtains.
Yeah.
You can get it on floor pillows. And you can get it on a wall clock, Steve.
All right. We're throwing the hammer down. The first one to send us a picture of them wearing any branded Stephen Kyle face mask is going to get a signed and personalized copy of one of the posters that we got for the Billboard visit, which was over 1 year ago, which we promised in the week following we would send them out.
Yep, and they were going to be given away in an organized fashion.
Mm-hmm. So you have to take a picture of yourself in the mask.
Yep.
Tag us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Hell, all three.
Yeah, preferably.
And
send it
our way.
We have a lot of those, too. So we'll do one for the face mask, one or two for the face mask. I think, Steve, if it's retired, if you still have them, I say maybe we figure out a way to give away your Scoot gloves.
Oh, I do have the Scoot gloves, yeah.
I think we sign and give away the Scoot gloves.
Oh, that'll be nice with a silver Sharpie.
A nice silver Sharpie on those,
boy. You know what I just thought of? Annette has been doing a lot of crafting with her new Cricut that she got. And she made this beautiful thing that we gave one to her mom, one to our mom. It was like what the hell is it called? Like a deep picture, shadow box.
Oh, yeah.
So you can have. So she made these beautiful shadow boxes. We sent one to each of our moms. How cool would that be to put the gloves in a shadow box?
Maybe a little switch on the back that turns on a light. So
I'll have her cut out. I'll have her cut out like because Cricut will cut out like picture. It'll cut out like actual designs.
Okay.
I could have it cut out like a little motorcycle, and then we could send that off. A picture like our logo in there too.
Oh man, beautiful! Yeah, we got to figure out a way to somehow give away those gloves now that the Scoot is
very important.
Retired.
I mean, highly used, obviously.
But again,
in no way do they still smell brand new. Like
again, a beautiful,
brand new, fresh pleather.
A beautiful solstice gift from somebody on staff, Steve, that you may never, ever, ever know who that was. But again, not to rush past it. First one, picture of you in your Stephen Kyle merchandised face mask. That means we're going to have to go on the merch shop and make sure every design is available in face mask. First person to purchase and take a picture of that personalized poster coming your way from our Van Wert trip to Ohio a couple years ago.
StephenKyle.com/merch. I went to the merch page for the first time after you had sent me a text saying, hey, I posted it. It's the first time I had been there in months. It's completely different. It looks completely different than it did the last time I went there. But yeah, it's up there. I think that the masks, when you pull up a design that you want, the mask is usually like the last one. So you got to scroll through T-shirts, sweatshirts, sweatpants, bodysuits, cell phone cases.
There's iPad cases. There's so much stuff on there. It's silly. And yet, that's part of the reason it's so tough to get a design up is you have to make sure everything is centered-ish and make sure it looks normal. But yeah, it's up there right now, steveandkyle.com/merch. So be sure to get in on that.
Yeah.
Steve, we left this episode last week with me telling you there's a couple of things that I wanted to get to this week.
Yeah, I have a note right here. Something about your quarantine activity, something you've been doing since everything has been closed, and also I want to apologize. I completely forgot to wish you and your wife a happy 5th anniversary. Last week.
Thank you very much. I'll have to check with my wife. That apology is accepted.
I remember Annette and I remember your wedding very fondly.
Oh, good.
We had a blast at your wedding. You had at the actual service, there were bagpipers, which I thought was badass, and I nearly cried because bagpipes always, I don't know, they bring out that emotion in you.
It was, that was a surprise from both of my mother and father and her mother and stepfather provided or did that as a surprise for both of us. And I very much enjoyed that. Yeah, loved it.
And then I remember at your reception, which was, for some reason, there was a little bit of time in between your wedding and your reception when you're doing like photos or something. Because I remember we actually went home because the where you got married was a half a mile from where we lived.
Yeah,
at the old house, we went home, came back to the reception, which is at the one of the country clubs in the area, in their little reception hall room building type thing. And I remember walking in and seeing one of the biggest cheese arrangements that I had ever seen. And I thought to myself, I'm taking full advantage of that because I know how these things work. Yeah. They're charging you whether you eat it all or not.
Listen, I'm not taking that cheese home.
Yeah,
I don't think it's offered up to us. It is what it is. It's not per cube of cheese that we pay that they take back. That cheese is an all or nothing.
I said to myself, Kyle doesn't want to be charged for something that he's not utilizing.
What a guy.
I did this for you. I did this for you and Katie. Look, you guys are getting married. You're starting off your financial lives together. Who am I? What kind of friend would I be?
Man.
What kind of person would I be if I didn't utilize as much of that cheese for my own benefit as possible?
How thoughtful. I mean, only the best of the best friends are that considerate when looking at a cheese spread.
So from what I remember, there was a picture that I believe I texted you during the reception.
Yeah, I didn't see it until obviously
probably the
after.
Next day or something. Yeah, but I would say that this pile of cheese was no less than 6 inches tall on my. This is a standard dinner plate of cheese. And I brought it back to the table. I was sitting at the table with the other cohorts from the side gig.
Yep.
And everybody looked at me with disgust. Like I was a complete mutant.
Yeah.
But I ate the hell out of that cheese, and I don't think I pooped for a week and a half.
And again, it was a tower of cheese.
Yeah.
A tower of cheese.
Yeah. Now, when you think tower, you think maybe Leaning Tower of Pisa, where it's pretty narrow but tall. No. This was like, take like Madison Square Garden, which is really, really, really round and wide, but make it like 50 stories tall. That's what this tower of cheese was.
And make it of cheese cubes.
Yeah,
and
of course.
That's what
it
was,
yeah.
obviously. So, it was the 5th anniversary, Steve.
That and another thing that I remember about your wedding was how, now, I mean, you know my wife very well. How many times in your life have you seen my wife bombed?
I would say 2. One was at my birthday 3 or 4 years ago, you and Annette met up with me as my brother was there at a local bar, and I remember noticing her being drunk, not bombed drunk, but she was intoxicated, and you could tell because I know Annette, and I know obviously acting a little bit differently, and I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, she's been drinking here tonight.
She's usually pretty quiet.
Absolutely.
Very conversational, but she's not the, hey, let's go over here. Look at that guy. Hey, what's your name?
Right.
Well, at your wedding, I think that might be the drunkest I've seen her, and I loved it. It was fantastic. So we're out on the dance floor, and we're dancing, having a blast, and I believe, because there was a good amount of Springsteen played at your wedding, from what I remember.
Steve, there was some guidelines set.
Yeah,
that Springsteen was getting played, and there was also the blacklist of songs that do not play, but Springsteen.
So you didn't do like Chicken Dance or anything.
Chicken Dance was on the band list. I believe it was Happy by Pharrell.
Oh, okay.
Was on the band list.
I'm surprised that was on there.
Black Eyed Peas as a whole.
Really?
Yep.
The whole band.
They were on the band list. I want to say that LMFAO song, Party Rock.
Oh, yeah.
Blacklisted.
Party Rockers in the house tonight.
It wasn't in the house.
It was not. Night. It was not in the house.
Not allowed. Not actually allowed in the house that night.
So we were dancing out on the dance floor, and there were some decorations in the place. There were those the old timey looking light bulbs, the Edison bulbs.
Oh yeah.
So there was a string of Edison bulbs somewhere.
Sure.
And Annette loves that style. Loves those bulbs.
Yep. You've got some in your hanging over your kitchen right now.
Mm-hmm. So she said something along. Now again, this was you guys got married in 2015.
Yep.
This was still a year and a half before we even got engaged.
Yeah.
We had just been dating a year. I had just moved in with her earlier that year, like a month earlier. And she said something, like it was on the way home. I'm driving, again, 1 mile back to the house.
Yeah, long hike.
She is going back and forth between consciousness and unconsciousness.
So she's like waking up with
seat.
ideas.
Yeah, so at one point she woke up, she's like, how am I going to get married? There's going to be Edison bulbs. I want to get married with Edison bulbs. And I was like, to me or just to anyone in general? Because she didn't specifically clarify that it was me that she wanted to marry. It seemed as though the Edison bulbs were paramount. The person standing next to her at the altar,
I would just stay focused on me right now, Steve. I would not look any other direction when you recap this story, because at this point we can claim that we didn't see anything. Did you get married with the Edison bulbs?
There were Edison bulbs at our wedding.
Hey, everybody's a winner in
Everybody
this story,
wins.
Right?
I mean, I'm still not sure if that's the outcome she wanted.
Again.
But look.
Again.
The Edison bulbs were there. Everybody was happy.
Again, person next to her, didn't matter.
Yeah.
40% of the equation, person next to her. 60% of the equation, Edison bulbs.
Like, you give me a nice 3-watt Edison bulb, and that's happy. She's thrilled.
Listen, it's the simple things in life, Steve.
Edison bulbs.
That fill you with joy. And if that happens to be Edison bulbs at a future wedding to an unknown or different person, at that point she didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
So be it.
Who would have thought that little weird kid sitting in the corner of the classroom eating his hard-boiled eggs with salt
and an apple.
And an apple. Little Tommy Edo would have had such an effect on my future relationships.
Oh, man. So, hey, great memories around. Thank you for the happy anniversary, Steve. It can't be said enough. I will have to, again, check with my wife on if we can accept that after the fact.
Okay.
I will get back to you in a timely fashion.
I appreciate that.
As timely as you wished us the happy anniversary.
What was your anniversary is the 5th?
May 9.
May 9. Why do I always think May 5th?
But let's just get right into that, because one of the things I wanted to mention, Steve, last week was our 5th anniversary. Now, last year we decided a couple of years ago to not get big gifts for each other. We had done them here and there, but decided, hey, we don't really need to do that. Last year, I got us something together that we could do together. It was an activity, so it wasn't really a gift. I got us. It was actually it's called To Hunt a Killer. And so every month for a few months, you get like clues from a mystery, and you have to solve the mystery. It was fun. We would do that once a month. And so this year, I got us something together as well.
Okay.
And it is something, Steve, inspired by this very podcast.
This podcast inspired your anniversary gift.
Talked about a number of times. And Steve, if this doesn't show my growth as a person...
Oh, boy. This could be big.
I don't know what could.
Did you... As something involving neighbors, like a neighbors fun cruise or something?
I'd rather burn my own house down.
I mean, you could just not go on the cruise.
I had 30 to 40...
Yeah, I mean, seems short-sighted to burn the place down.
It was 45 seconds of conversation with a neighbor yesterday, and I thought about taking that spade that I was using to dig and jamming it into my eyeballs.
Now, was it something like you're out there digging, and he said, like, what you doing to that shovel? Digging a hole?
It was pretty clear what we had done. We removed a lot of edging and a lot of like extra excess. It was kind of like leftover mulch stuff. Got rid of it all, whatever. And redid all the edging. And
you go metal, you go plastic.
Going grass there? Yep. Yes, we are. It's going to be grass. And then he starts.
Where do we go now, sir?
Then he starts recapping what he's doing because he's taking down whatever. I don't care now. I'm almost asleep now. I don't know if it's the rain or just talking about my neighbor. Both awful. And. But anyway, this gift, again, was inspired by this very podcast, Steve. Something you have done. Something you and Annette have done.
No.
Steve, sometime when this world gets back to normal-ish, my wife and I will be getting a couples massage.
Oh, look who came around.
Nope. Dreading every second of it.
Look who came around. Now,
I might just stand in the corner while she gets her massage.
Many questions. You just said you're dreading it.
Yep.
How does your wife feel about it?
Oh, she loves massages.
Thrilled. She's probably
she's
excited about it. Now, did you go to one of the places that I have gone to?
I believe so, Steve. Does it have to do with? Is there some lumber in the name?
There is.
Okay.
Yep, that was the place we went to last.
Okay, that's the place we're going for your standard 50-minute couples massage, which is at minimum 45 minutes too long.
So Katie's excited.
Yep.
Kyle, not so much.
Yep.
Recap again. Is this the reason you're not excited? Because of the close quarters with other people? The interaction, the awkwardness, what exactly is it?
Because I'm really expecting them to leave me alone, okay? Do what you're there to do physically, but listen, I'm not taking money out of my bank account or getting my hair cut to where you have to ask me how I've been.
Yeah, this is...
I don't want that, and if it happens, I'll get up.
It will not. I guarantee you that will not happen.
Okay.
The most interaction that there will be is when you first walk in. They will say, okay, go ahead and lay down on the table and pull the blanket over you. And because the tables, they have heaters in them or like a heated blanket or something. They'll ask you if the temperature is okay.
Yeah. Now I run a little hot, Steve. Do they also have air conditioned tables?
I don't think they have AC tables.
I paid a pretty penny.
They can turn the heat down though.
Okay.
So they'll then leave. You will lay down on the table. They'll come back in a few minutes. And they get going, and there is little interaction. The most that will happen over the course of your 50-minute massage is they will say, okay, Kyle, you can go ahead and flip over onto your stomach now. And then You do that. They keep going to town. And then 20, 25 minutes later, they'll say, okay, we're just going to leave now. You can go ahead and get yourself all situated, and we'll meet you outside with a drink. And then you walk out, and they have a glass of water for you, maybe a bottle of water.
They got any soda?
I don't think they have soda.
So now I'm going to be sweating with like a bottle of Polar Arctic 32-pack water from Sam's Club.
Well, they're not going to give you a 32-pack.
Well, I'll get one bottle from it. One of those bottles that... And you can tell when it's those type because... they don't have whatever chemical in the bottle to make it seem like stay rigid, so it just crinkles if you tap it.
And it's got a like printer label on it, like they just printed it out. They slapped it over Aquafina, and it says like Bob's Massage Parlor.
Yeah, so if I hold it and it's damp, like the ink's gonna be on my palm. Great, boy, what a luxury I'm looking forward to, Steve. Just looking for a Diet Coke.
Yeah, I don't think you might have some cucumber water.
Oh yeah, I love cucumbers. The only thing that makes it better is water.
Perhaps a mimosa, if it's early in the morning.
Now, okay, now we're talking,
man. I'm telling you, you are going to show up here that first episode after your couple's massage, whenever that may be. Of course, leave it to Kyle to finally do the couple's massage during a pandemic. But you are going to be a changed person. I guarantee it.
So you
are going to sit down here and you're going to say, I'm doing that again. Definitely. That was great. I feel so relaxed.
Is cucumber water a waste to both cucumbers and water?
Oh boy. I'm a couple behind here on the new web polls.
And so again, at Steve and Kyle on Facebook and Twitter, we'll get to those results from last week's, which we had a litany of them, Steve. We'll get to those here coming up. I don't know if I'll be changed. Part of my hating, not hating it, but not looking forward to it, I think is part of it's a little bit of the character as well of me. Spoiler alert. Am I excited? Not really. But am I thinking I'm going to go in there and just hate every second of it? Probably not, right?
No, you're going to look. You're going to come out of there feeling great. You're going to feel very relaxed.
Well, Kyle,
stress.
Be a changed man after their anniversary.
Are we setting a record for web polls this week?
I won't post that one because there's no way to. We need people to listen to the episode before, so I won't post that one.
Will Kyle feel like a changed man after his anniversary gift?
Okay,
to his wife?
Yeah, I can post that. It's number two. I'm ticklish a little bit, Steve. Okay, but I'm also not one of those people who, when you see massages, and I know they go like, oh, you can get a soft tissue, or you can get a deep tissue. I also don't want somebody digging their elbows into my back, right?
Go medium pressure.
Medium pressure, you think
I
is
would
what
recommend
I tell them?
medium pressure. I did firm pressure one time, and while it felt like the aftermath was better, it was kind of 45 minutes of torture.
So you didn't, while it did maybe release some tension,
it definitely
after the fact. You had some tears welling up at some point during the massage.
Yeah, I was like asking him for a block of wood that I could chew on.
Okay, so medium, because again, I'm a little worried. Like I don't want soft pressure and just be like giggling like a 4-year-old who said the word butt for the first time.
Yeah, no, go medium. Medium pressure will not be ticklish at all. You can also tell them that they'll specifically say, are there areas you want us to focus on? Like say you got a sore shoulder or something, or your neck hurts, lower back. Just tell them that. They'll focus on that, maybe not so much on other areas. But if you tell them just go to town, they'll pretty much, start at the top, work their way down, or start at the bottom and work their way up.
Okay. Another question I have for you, and I believe there's no way this hasn't been discussed before.
I mean, look, I am the authority.
You are.
On massages.
You are the one I know who has done this not once, not a couple of times.
I would say Annette and I have had half a dozen. Probably,
it's a treat to you guys to do it.
We enjoy it. That's always like our anniversary gift to each other, or maybe like a birthday gift or something, Valentine's Day.
Yeah, and So I ask you, Steve, what they tell you, undress to what you're comfortable. Not to get too personal, what are you comfortable in? Are you going basketball shorts and socks?
Yeah, I'm going down to like boxers or boxer briefs.
Okay, so you're going undergarments.
Yeah.
You
No
got
socks.
the heated blanket. You're taking the socks off.
Socks off,
Do they
yeah.
go down to the toes? Do they
Yeah, they will.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Leave my toes alone.
That's fine.
My feet are ticklish. I don't need you around my toes.
I'll tell you what, though. The one thing that feels great is the arch. When they
really get in underneath your foot.
Yeah, they work the arch good. For a working man like me, a guy who's on his feet upwards of 2 to 3 hours per day, less on the weekends.
Just really, calluses. Steve just loaded with bunions.
Yep. Yeah, they look at my feet and they say, that's a working man right there.
They say, that's disgusting. Let me go try to gag, and I'll come back and fix up these monsters. Okay, I'm just wondering because, again, I've never done this. I don't want to just have them say, all right, let's get started. And then, whoa, you're fully nude.
No, that is not the
So is that okay, though, or?
fully nude. I'm sure there are some people that do it.
Would
I feel like
would
the only
I be
people who do
asked-
that, the only people who do that are like celebrities
Right.
or idiots. I mean,
Wow. Hey, if you're getting a nude massage, you're an idiot or famous. Maybe both. I mean, accurate. I don't want to set the record here, but if you get a nude massage, are you dumb or famous?
do it. Do it.
That'll have to go on the poll as well. Again, at Stephen Kyle.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. I'm very excited for your wife because I know that this is something she will enjoy. You've said in the past that she likes doing this.
Yeah.
I think that it is a wonderful thing that you are doing. You got that for her for your anniversary.
Yeah, and listen, it's growth of me as a man,
Sure,
Steve, as
yeah,
a
you
person,
are,
as
you
a
are,
husband,
oh,
as
man,
a father.
Look at you.
I am constantly growing everywhere except for my hair.
Well, that's exciting. Good. Yeah, there's no hope for your hair, but there is hope for you in other facets of your life.
Well, Steve, I had another item I wanted to get to, but as per the usual with this podcast, we are a little bit behind schedule.
Oh, yeah.
And we have a few things we need to get to. One, we have to recap the polls.
Mm-hmm.
Two, we obviously have the Kenny Rogers factoid of the week that we have to get to.
Yeah, obviously.
So let me very quickly, Steve, get to getting on the polls.
Yeah.
Because I've got. By the way, do you need a second to download? I sent you. We've been talking.
Mm-hmm.
You've got some new audio.
I'm ready, man. I
for
got
the
that.
Kenny Rogers factoid of the week.
I have it queued up. But yeah, we can get to the. Why don't we get to the polls first, and then we will get to the Kenny.
Finalizing the last poll. There are the only people who get fully nude for massages: celebrities or dumb people.
So, are those the options? So, celebrities or dumb people?
Well, no, because I feel like they're all one group. So are the only.
How
people who do-
about you reword it? Who gets naked for massages? Celebrities or dumb people?
Who gets naked for massages? I wish I could add a third option because I'd put both.
Oh, Facebook only let you do.
Yeah.
Only let you do two, huh? Boy,
But
man.
again, at Steve and Kyle, Facebook and Twitter for these polls. We will get to last week. Now, Steve, these first few, the wording was very important. I don't know if people saw that. The first
Okay.
poll last week, was Kenny Rogers a crooner?
Yeah, because we had a whole discussion about crooners.
Yep, and what
Our
you
crooner,
thought they
our
were based on
crooner
appearance?
confusion.
Yep. Steve, 51% of the audience
Boy, it's a close one.
said yes, Kenny Rogers was a crooner. Maybe, more importantly, Steve, the second question, is Kenny Rogers a crooner?
So, is he still?
Because as I claim, Kenny Rogers is still somewhere crooning away
Okay.
next to Tupac,
So they're all still.
Elvis,
They're all
Steve
still.
Jobs.
They're all still with us. Then.
They're all still with us.
Okay.
Crooning, rapping, and making phones in their own little world.
Oh boy, I think you're gonna have to change the recent poll that you just posted.
Oh no, what'd I do?
You said who gets naked for massages, and then the options are celebrities and massages.
Oh boy, trying to post while talking, a real problem. I will do that here once I finish.
I'll delete it right now so we can.
So is Kenny Rogers a crooner? 46% of the audience say yes. So if you take into that margin of error 5%, 5% of the people are wrong, and they assume Kenny Rogers is dead.
Yeah.
He's not.
Truth is out there. The X-Files told me that.
Do your fingers tingle when Jersey Steve comes out? We had a bit of a Jersey Steve appearance. We talked about last week there, coming out with his argument with Prince, the man who no-showed the meeting to buy the scoot.
Yes.
Steve, 66% of the audience said yes, their fingers tingle when I love it. It's a joy for me when I get some Jersey Steve. I absolutely adore it.
Has there been an instance of Jersey Steve in person that you've witnessed?
Not that I remember, but I would be stunned if it didn't happen in all of those years where you and I would go out and have beers and interact with people, whether it be at a hockey game or at a bar, or even when I was working with you guys side by side. I would be stunned if there wasn't a Jersey Steve. I just can't remember one offhand. But they do bring it's an extra few millimeters on my smile when Jersey Steve comes out.
Glad I could help.
Was Steve justified in arguing with Prince? Steve, 75% of the audience said yes, you were justified in playing. I wouldn't say it's an argument, and maybe I phrased that wrong. When you were you had a disagreement with Prince, you got a little bit. I think what would passive aggressive be the way to phrase that, and you made Prince angry with with the way you talked to him.
Yep.
Are you intrigued by the glass mug? 57% of the audience said no.
Oh boy, that was
not interested.
That was really bad.
Not intrigued by the glass mug. That was again off the cuff by Steve, as talking about your tea mug last week.
It's a great mug,
and just nobody cares. You don't want to be able to see.
Well, I mean, nearly half of people do care.
Half.
I'm a glass mug half full kind of guy.
In this case, glass mug 40% full.
Yeah. Well.
Is a curtain
still pretty good?
Is a curtain in front of a wall weird? Steve,
this wall right here.
Yeah,
just a wall with a
curtain in front.
Wall with a curtain.
85% of the audience, Steve, said yes. Because that's weird.
Why not just it would be one thing if it was hiding something, or there was a window, or like an APS 2.0. We had the curtain in back of me, but that was to cover up. Like the water meter and those shelves and everything.
This is a big one right here, Steve.
Oh, boy.
Did Steve's side gig steal another bit from the podcast?
Oh, I know what this is going to be. This is going to be, okay, my huge prediction, 85% yes, at least.
These polls are weird, right? Because we've joked about and talked about, but there's a little bit of truth in it, that if it's me versus you, it's always going to favor you, typically, by a decent margin.
Well, I mean, there's right-minded people out there that just seem to, vote the correct way.
There's also sheeps and dummies, and dickheads. So I guess we've got two sides to every coin, or in this case, three sides.
So, are people who agree with Steve sheep dummies or dickheads?
Those are the only groups. But for whatever reason, when these polls reference the side gig, your radio show, and them doing something nefarious, people come out in droves to vote against
that's
them.
the one thing that people can agree on.
And I love it. I love driving that wedge. Like every poll of these is one more small hammer tap in the stake of the divide between this podcast and the side gig show members.
Okay.
Steve?
So my prediction again is it's going to be at least 85% yes.
78% of the audience, Steve, said yes, they did steal another bit from the podcast. It's pretty clear. It's pretty clear that it was definitely stolen. And Steve, the last one, I believe this one was from the Fast Five last week, I believe. Our court stenographers, the unsung heroes of the judicial system.
That was not from the Fast Five.
That was from our
that was
episode?
we kicked it. That was the 8-bit last
Man,
week.
It is amazing how much just kind of in one ear out the other in regards to this podcast. As much as I laugh and enjoy it,
Yeah.
how little I retain is impressive.
Oh yeah.
Steve, 71% of the audience said yes, the court stenographers, the unsung hero of the judicial system, the person being paid, as you, and now that I remember, a large sum of money to be the court
I
stenographer.
think starting salary was like $40,000, which is pretty darn good, but up to $250,000 per year.
Again, to do something an app can do.
Yeah. Hey, no.
Those are your polls this week against at Steve and Kyle, Facebook and Twitter. Steve, it's time for the Kenny Rogers Factoid of the Week. And as we've said, we will be doing one of these every single week until the crooner himself, Kenny Rogers, is back with us.
It's time for
Kenny Rogers.
Back to the wheel.
You've got to know when to hold up. Fact of the week.
Know when to fold 'em. Now, I believe it's my week for the Kenny Rogers Factoid of the Week.
Steve.
And of course, I was prepared for this. I've been prepared for this for weeks. Did you know, Kyle?
I can promise you I didn't.
Kenny Rogers dabbled in interior design.
Hang on. So now you're telling me one of your factoids of the week was that he was a professional level tennis player.
Professional level tennis player, obviously a wildly talented country musician,
And now,
a chicken entrepreneur.
until they all failed.
They did not all fail. There's still hundreds of them. We looked it up.
Did we?
We did.
Oh, yeah, they're all in, like, Asia. There's none in the United States.
Look, Asia's a good market for chicken. But yes, now adding, he's a quadruple threat.
Okay, so explain a little bit to me dabbling, Steve. Do you have any further details?
I do. This I feel like this quote undersells his prowess in interior design, because in 2003, Kenny Rogers formed Kenji Design Studio,
Whoa!
an Atlanta-based interior design firm with business partner Jim Weinberg. The company went on to score some major contracts, like its bid to design all of the graphics, common spaces, model units, and employee uniforms at Trump Towers, Atlanta.
Whoa! Look at that. It's a big contract. I'm sure it was paid in full.
Yeah, right. For his part, Rogers admitted that his design skills were really self-taught. I've done 20 houses on my own. So I come to this from a totally emotional standpoint, Rogers told the Chicago Tribune in 2007. Jim does all the work. He brings me in as a second set of eyes. We're yin and yang. I tend to think very outside the box. Jim pulls me back in.
Wow.
So Kenny Rogers,
So this
the
kind of
tennis playing, country song singing,
chicken eating and selling.
chicken cooking and eating and selling, interior designing quadruple threat, Kenny Rogers. May he not rest in peace. That sounds rude, but he's still alive.
Kenny Rogers.
Back to the wheel.
You've got to know when to hold up. Fact of the week.
Know when to fold 'em. Oh, boy. Sense of calming in these troubled times.
Absolutely is, Steve. Thank you again for that Kenny Rogers Factoid of the Week.
Anytime.
They absolutely soothe the soul, Steve.
Do we have time for a quick Zach update?
Listen, I've been waiting with bated breath since you mentioned it earlier in the episode. Now, I think I know what it is. I don't know for sure. But please, this podcast, this audience, I don't know if I want to post it on the poll because there was 1 billion already. Are you always ready for an update on the Zach?
I think that's a fair poll to
I'm
post.
trying to
Now
finish-
remember, it's the, then apostrophe
Yep.
capital ZAC.
Now, I'm trying to finalize the wording on the last poll. What did we decide? Are the only people who agree with Steve on polls sheep, dumb people, and dickheads? That's where we were at? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that, So, Steve, please indulge me. I went down in the lab for that, as you heard, the Kenny Rogers Factor of the Week. I sent you another piece of audio. We're not going to have time to get to it today. Maybe next week. We'll get to that. Went down in the lab to make an intro. I feel like we need an intro for the Zach.
Definitely.
And there's only one person I could think of who can do it, and it's Zach Ruddick.
Yeah, of
because
course.
his name's Zach.
Oh, maybe we could get him on. Like, I could feed him the story, and then he could call in as a correspondent and give us the update. Or do like a dramatic reading.
Yes.
So as it's been well chronicled, many of the houses on the Zach are up for sale.
Some claim, don't know who, unnamed sources claim it's because you moved in.
I mean, one of them I'm certain is for sale because the previous owner is no longer living.
Oh, there's problems on this Zach.
That was...
And the problems on this Zach have to do with you moving in and loved ones dying. Because that's all that happens around here. You set the tone wrong when you moved in and you started, you're on your roof in your Crocs and your cut-off sweatpants putting up an antenna on a Sunday.
On a Sunday, yeah.
And then,
during a windstorm.
And then you continued that wrong tone by having garbage laid up on the side of your house and people pulling up in 1996 Buick strapping vinyl fencing to their cars.
That was wreck. This most recent one, now this house went up for sale last fall. It was on the market, and they were doing a for sale by owner.
Yep. Now, this is your direct neighbor.
Right next to me.
I feel like we've described all of the layout of your neighbor that people could draw their interpretation of the cul-de-sac and where you are and the people around you and how we've described them.
So this is a very nice older couple. They're, again, empty nesters, all the kids out of the house. So it's time to put the place up on the market. So we noticed a for sale sign on the front lawn last fall. It was up there for maybe a month or two. Then it came down. So we wondered, I wonder if maybe they sold it. No, I looked at Zillow. Turns out they just removed it, took it off the market. So the sale sign went back up probably around January or February. And it was up for a couple of weeks. And then we noticed one day, it was when my mom was in town, or Annette's mom was here, babysitting before the world all went to hell. And she said, hey, I've noticed like the last 3 days there's this car that has pulled up out front.
Okay.
And they're obviously going in and talking to the neighbors. So we thought, I wonder, maybe they're coming to terms on a deal or something. We look, the house is off the market again. So we thought, okay, this is it. This is our new neighbors. The place is sold. Well, then maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, we noticed for sale sign back up. Oh, no. Okay, well, it's back on the market. So we've been outside a bunch the last week, cleaning up around the house, doing some yard work, just getting the place spruced up a bit. So I was on the side of the house the other day that faces my neighbor's house, pulling weeds, getting ready to, because we got some mulch dropped off the other day. And so my neighbor, I didn't even notice. I'm down there pulling weeds, and I just hear, hey, Steve. Turn around, and it's Joe, my neighbor. Hey, Joe, how are you, man? Hadn't talked to him pretty much since the fall, other than like a wave here and there.
Okay. Did he lose any loved ones in the recent past?
I don't think so.
Okay.
If he did, he didn't lead with it.
Okay. I mean, hey, Steve, good to see you. Daughter died last December.
Another dead one. I blame you. So we got to talking, just typical small talk, and so I said, how's everything how are you guys doing? How's everything going with selling the house? And he said, well, we thought we had somebody lined up, but it was all before this whole coronavirus thing. And when this hit, apparently the people that were going to buy the place were business owners. Their businesses took a huge hit. Their financing fell through. So I was like, oh, man, that sucks. But Joe's house from the outside, it's just immaculate. Like, the The grass is cut perfectly. They got this beautiful backyard with the
Man.
awesome swimming pool. I was like, and I said to him, I was like, you're not going to have trouble selling this. You're going to be fine. Place looks great. Oh, thank you very much. So he said, yeah, well, we're actually, we're getting out of here because there's a showing in about a half hour. And then so they packed up their car, hit the road. And so I was still outside doing yard work. Annette was sitting out with Evelyn just on a blanket. And a couple cars pulling the driveway.
Oh, she's still kind of dumb on a blanket, by the way, right? She just kind of sits there.
Yeah, it doesn't really do much.
Yeah.
Just kind of looks around.
Oh, great, more drool.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm kidding, Annette, if you still listen.
She hasn't listened in months.
Good, that's fair.
So this a couple cars pull in. It's a realtor in one car, a couple in another car. They go in, look at the house. And again, I'm still just doing yard work, raking, pulling weeds. And they come outside, and I hear, hey, how you doing? I turn around, and it's the realtor.
Oh, okay.
And so I talk to him. Like, he's standing there, and then the couple is kind of, like, further back in the driveway. And for some reason, this is, like, the third time this has happened, that somebody looking at that house, when I'm outside, has asked me, do you know about where the property line is? Which I don't...
Oh, so you're the assessor.
Well, I say the same thing to all three people who have asked. I'm like, I'm assuming it's where the fence is.
What is it? Screw off, call the county? That's what you tell them, right?
So I don't know if it's just like way to initiate conversation or small talk or what.
Well,
but
it's a dumb way to do it. I'll say that.
yeah, I mean, you could just say, hey, how are you? Do you like the neighborhood?
Yeah.
And I'll give you my honest opinion.
Hey, any murders lately?
So I talked to him for a minute or two, and it eventually turned into, hey, how's the neighborhood? Is it younger, older? So I told him, I was like, I know that this cul-de-sac, it's turning over because there's a lot of one, death
and
and two, empty nesters moving out.
uh-huh.
So he said, oh, okay. And I briefly talked to the couple, and they seemed very nice. They have a young child. And that was it. They were in their cars and on their way. So a couple days later, again, still outside doing yard work, I see Joe again. And I said, hey, Joe, how's it going? And he said, good. We're hoping to close by the 15th.
Whoa!
I said, what? Like, what? You got an offer? He said, yeah, that couple that came the other day, they put in an offer, and if all goes well, we'll be closing on the 15th. So I'm getting new neighbors, and they're younger and have young kids, and
so you can say,
our
hey,
kids are going to grow up together, probably get married.
Uh-huh. So
And,
you're going to, this will be another one just like across the street, not directly across the Zac, but towards the entrance of the Zac where, we'll definitely get together and, talk. And then you haven't even waved at them since.
There's been a wave or two.
Hey, keeping up the friendship.
Best buds.
I think we've done the math on this. Is there 7 houses on the Zac?
We got
If you're going to count the front entrance ones?
2, 3, 4,
8?
6, 7. Yeah,
There's
you're
7.
right.
You're one of them.
Yep.
How many have turned over in the 2.5 years?
In the time that we've been here,
It's been 2.5 years,
well,
right? It was
the
no
one on
bad-
the entrance to the Zac, they were here before us. Maybe, I think like 6 months or a year, they had said.
Okay.
So the one directly across from us, new,
Yep.
last summer. The one next to them, currently for sale.
Okay, so that's in the process of turnover.
The one next to them,
Was that death related or just?
Yes.
Okay, that's the death related.
yeah, death house.
Okay.
Probably died in the house.
Carry it with you. It's like a stink.
All right, so
Everywhere Steve goes, the stink of death follows.
on the other side of death house is they're as far as I know not selling. I think they still have kids. They look to be about high school age.
But were they? They were here before you.
They were here before us.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been here. Next to them is the new Weirdos.
Yep. So that's number 2 then.
Yeah, that's 2. Then us. And then
And now Joe going
It'll be-
away at the dodo.
well, I mean, I don't think he's planning to die.
Joe's extinct. Now,
Well, for on this cul-de-sac, yes, all Joes will be extinct.
This is
unless the new owner is a Joe or there's a Joe in the house that I don't really know.
and then the legend of Joe will carry on. Now, to clarify, this is a different Joe than the Joe we've spoken about in recent weeks, which is Slipknot Joe, the Lattice Man.
Slipknot Joe the Lattice Man
That
is not my neighbor.
your neighbor.
No.
I did not drive to...
Oh, boy, would I love to have Slipknot Joe the Lattice Man as my neighbor, though.
So that's 3 out of 6, not including you.
Yeah.
Four in the process.
A fourth on the way, and that fifth one, I mean, they have kids, again, I said high school, they might be college age at this point, so I would assume that within the next couple of years, they'll be out too.
So you're staring, though, at a proper turnover rate with new families the age and size that movie night could be a reality. Probably not this year, pandemic,
No,
et cetera, et cetera.
couple years.
Couple years away.
I'm thinking 2024 is going to be the inaugural movie night. Let's see, Reed will be, what would he be, almost
not
6
interested
by then?
He'll be not interested by then.
Or 5? Yeah, it'll probably be 5. Are you kidding?
He'll be bored to tears by then. Yeah.
There's no way that you're going to be able to deny your child.
Oh, no, I'm going to be the one who's calling Universal Studios and saying that you're showing an unauthorized screening of Ghostbusters in your cul-de-sac and that you should be shut down.
Oh, you're the killjoy.
That's while I'm honking the horn.
Right, doing donuts.
Doing donuts right around the screen.
Oh, man, it's going to be great.
Are you going to do... Now, I think if you're going to do it, you got to do seasonal. So, like, in the fall, you got hay bales for everybody to sit on.
Oh, you're coming around.
Super uncomfortable, so nobody will actually want to stay because there's no back
We'll
support.
make hay bale chairs.
Oh,
so
great.
like each chair will require 6 hay bales.
So hay bean bags.
So I need a truckload of hay bales.
No, so you do a hay bale as where you'd sit on, then you do two hay bales high
As the back.
behind them as the back.
And that'll seat 2. Yeah.
So then it's just too long, so your feet don't dangle, so they're just rigid and
I love it.
perfect. Man, I've got ideas to help you make this worse than it already is going to be.
I'm going to play it cool with this neighbor. The new one. I'm just going to be, hey, man.
Well, your other approaches have been just swirling successes as the weird volleyballers, gardening shifts, laborers behind you, and the other people you haven't spoken to since you moved in. I mean, I would argue.
Which one is that?
Well, you've got Justin with a Y and
I've
Judy with an X in there too.
I've seen them many times in the last few weeks, and
big ways, big conversation.
chatted with them a couple of times.
Yeah, what are they up to?
Out of work,
Oh.
just like everybody else.
We're talking foreclosure, huh? You know what they say? Steve brings death and people moving out. So I guess this one would be part of the latter.
Yeah.
Bummer for you, millennials.
So that's the latest update on the Zach.
Well, that's
Zach. If you could get to an intro,
yeah, please.
updates for the Zach. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess
please do.
We could do that. This is our podcast. and
No,
all,
too
but
busy. I'm down in the lab too often as it is. I've got a family to attend to.
Lots of stuff going on.
Next week, Steve, the A-Bit. We've got, I got to get to a Kyle's Gripe for the week. The list grew by 1 yesterday.
Okay.
So the list is up to 5.
Find it hard to believe that those are your only gripes.
This is the ones I think of that really stick with me.
Just the ones who have been actually put down on paper.
Yeah, and we have to get to my quarantine activity. It cannot go the way of the Vegas story. It's
Or your the update on your latest student loan statement.
or the student loan statement, which is well past its expiration date. We'll
Has
get
that
to
been
those next week.
Is the student loan gone yet? Is it paid off yet?
I mean, am I dead? So no, it's still there.
All right, Facebook, Twitter, at Steve and Kyle if you want to take all of those polls.
A stupid amount of polls this week.
Also on Instagram, at Steve and Kyle. And we will talk to you next week. See ya.
See you Thursday.